Hello guys and welcome back. It's the Sniper Raccoon on this episode of Black Ops 2 Tips and Tricks. I am having a look at the AN94. That is my setup. I'll go into it in a bit more detail in a minute. But what first I want to say, as my little raccoon is telling me in the corner, this is my first VTOL gameplay and my first 50 kill gameplay in Black Ops 2. So I'm very stoked for about the first 3/4 of the gameplay, because then after I get the streaks I'm a bit jittery and I'm like, no, I don't really do much else. But anyway, tips and tricks for the AN94. Swanee and Ruddy, shout outs to both of you for thank you for voting for the AN94 in the last video. So this is for you buddies. My setup I'm using, I set it up just before this game thinking it'll take me a couple of games to get into it. No, bam, first game of the day, this happens. Obviously the AN94, I am using the stock, which is essential for me in the assault rifles, the suppressor and the extended mags. Now my little tips, I've only really got two for you. One is for the suppressor, and obviously hardcore, it is a bit more effective because the bullet drop, the damage drop doesn't really affect you as much in hardcore as it does in core from shooting from mid-range, so it keeps you silent and knocks the fire rate down. I'd probably in core, I'd swap that over for the the foregrip, because that does nail it down and you don't lose any of the damage. Here's me doing a bit of spawn camping like a boss. So anyway, and the next tip really is obviously the kick on the AN94 is not that bad. It's a bit of a laser rifle, so don't really need it. For me, stock is absolutely essential. As I said in my LMG commentary, it keeps you active, it keeps you mobile, and if you're anything like me where you have to keep aiming down sights to get a kill and don't rely on the hip fire with the assault rifles and the LMGs, stock is a must. You must carry on doing it. This is my line of strike to start off with. Get a nice couple of kills here, as you can see, 2, and then the third one there. So anyway, also as well, the reason why I've put extended mags on, yes, it's hardcore. You'd think, what are you doing that for? And if you saw in the open, I'm using scavenger as well. Now the reason why I do this, and it's sort of a mindset that I do, I tend to spray and pray. I'm not that accurate, to be perfectly honest with you. I get a couple of kills, but I tend to just strafe too much, especially with stock. Perhaps that's probably why I use stock so much, because I'm strafing a hell of a lot. But I find myself, like prime example there, I find myself just aiming that little bit, pre-firing when I've got the VSAT up, obviously, not trying to get myself killed here because I know how close I am to the VTOL. Get this kill here. Go in, see the tags, no one's there. There's the VTOL, my first VTOL. But anyway, back to the topic at hand. Obviously with the extended mags, you can just go that little bit longer and without having to reload, and if you're not as accurate as you usually are, perhaps in core it's a little bit more effective than in hardcore, because you can get in a nice couple of streaks, get in some people's faces, get 2, 3, 4 piece, something like that. Depends how your game style plays, but for me, if you're using a rifle that's only got a 30 bullet capacity, I tend to run through that quite quickly, especially if I'm spraying like a little idiot. So that's why I use extended mags. Perhaps you don't, perhaps you're more accurate, but for some reason I tend not to use extended mags with the SMGs, yet I probably should, because I end up reloading like a bugger half the time. But anyway, coming towards the end of the VTOL, I finally realised down here that they're all spawning at the top. Ask my pilot to leave, and I get shot down right here. But I get myself another lightning strike anyway. So that was the end of my first VTOL, which I thought was pretty cool. And unfortunately I didn't time my lightning strike right, because guy just took out half of them with a hellstorm. So I only get the one kill with the lightning strike. So the rest of this gameplay slows down a little bit because I'm obviously on a massive high. I'm thinking, yeah, I can take on the world, and yeah, I get brought down to earth a couple of times, like right there. So anyway, talk about the other parts of the assault rifles and some other little bits you want. I've talked about the suppressor and the kick, which is basically just for nullifying either the damage at range or for the amount of kick you got. Obviously different rifles have got different kicks. Now I found my favourite assault rifle is the M27, purely because for me it feels like the ACR did in Modern Warfare 3. It's so accurate, it's not that powerful, so obviously if you're using a suppressor on that, even in hardcore, from a long range, you're not going to get that 1-2 bullet kill half the time. So foregrip is one you should use. Teammate killing me like an idiot. But so foregrip or suppressor to try and null the kick. Now the AN94 I'm not gonna lie, the iron sight does my head in, and depending on because for some reason the 2 red dots at the top confuse me, so I think they're the aiming sights sometimes, not the one in the middle. I don't know why, but I'm getting a hell of a lot more used to it now because I'm using it a bit more, but it just confuses me a little bit. So to start off, I always used to have a red dot sight on, always. Now if you're a medium range assault rifle player, rather than trying to get around the map and try and keep up, then I suggest you use the red dot or the hybrid optic like I showed you in the LMG, because it is very good for medium to long range, and you can also use it quite short with the hip fire as well. Laser sight I don't recommend for an assault rifle. That is, personally, it kind of warrants you to go too hippie fire. And with an assault rifle, if you play with them extensively, being too hip fire leads you to be inaccurate, and you're possibly, the range that you're going to be using hip fire, you're probably going to be against shotgunners or SMGs, so you're wasting an attachment slot there, to be perfectly honest with you. Now the other one I see a lot of people using is fast mags. Now I agree with using fast mags. Don't set it up on this class, obviously, because I've only got three setups and I'm using hardcore, so I'm thinking I'm going to have enough time to do it. But fast mags is another one I'd probably swap out for. I'd probably swap it in place of the suppressor or extended mags, depending what you want. I'd probably swap it out for extended mags now, actually thinking about it, because you can't equip the two together, so that's just me being me and messing things up. So here we go, we're getting into the last couple of kills now. So we're going into this blue house and wreck a bit of face. Now after a game like this, I could have got so many hate messages, I could have got a couple of idiot messages, whatever, you never know. But a guy on my team actually took time, and I love this guy. I said thank you very much afterwards. He sent me a message just to what he thought of my game. It's 2 simple letters, but it reaffirms your faith in the Call of Duty community. So I've been the Sniper Raccoon. I'm going to let you see this message, and I'll see you next time. See you later, guys. Tra.